Here we are at Gratitude Villa. This has been selected as India's first house of tomorrow. It is one of the most sustainable buildings in our country. We have also received an award from the Government of India's Green Building Department, GRIHA, for exemplary performance in sustainable materials and technologies. I will be sharing with you the 9-point recipe which has been integrated in creating one of the most sustainable buildings of India, Gratitude Villa. The 9 points are as follows. The first one is design. Here in Gratitude, we have a fusion of French heritage, it being close to Pondicherry, as well as modern, experimental and sustainable, it being close to Auroville. We are right at the cusp of Pondicherry and Auroville, and we have the best of both worlds here. In terms of elements, we have incorporated the heritage elements of French design such as cornices, large balconies, verandas, bands around the windows. And in terms of sustainable design, we have an entire bouquet of sustainable materials, technologies, and aspects related to resource efficiency and resource management. In terms of the design, the characteristic of Gratitude Villa is the unfolding balconies from east to west. You start at the eastern end and then almost like an origami fold, you keep unfolding the balconies and it fans out. This also has a beautiful indication in Vastu, it being a Gomukhi house, which means entrance is like the face of a cow, which is narrow at the front and it widens as it goes behind, instead of a Vyagramukhi house, where the face of the lion is big in the front and the body is slimmer at the back. So in Vastu, Gomukhi houses are considered extremely auspicious. So that aspect is also there. Coming back to the design, the color scheme has been designed keeping in mind the very soil from which Gratitude has been built. So it has the base color of white with the accent color of the red earth, the Auroville's red earth on which Gratitude stands, as well as the highlight of grey. The greenery in the background and the blue sky are also part of the color scheme. This is aspect number 1. The second aspect of Gratitude is climate intelligence. The entire house has been designed in response to the specific climate of the place in which it is built. Pondicherry is a hot and a humid climate. In fact, Pondicherry has 3 climates: hot, hotter and hottest. Now in this kind of a climate where summer temperatures rise up to 45 degrees and relative humidities can go as high as 80%, it is a challenge to design a building which does not require air conditioners, isn't it? How did we do it? By incorporating the following principles. First, orientation. As you all know, the sun moves from east to west. Hence, we have the longer side of the building facing north and south, which means the building cuts across the path of the sun and only the shorter side is exposed to direct sunlight. Secondly, even on those exposed sides, we have deep balconies and verandas which act like an umbrella to the sun, literally stopping the direct sunlight from hitting the main walls of the house.
You can see that the pivotal point of the design is the balcony, which frames almost 40% of the whole facade of the building. We wanted the balcony to be like an extension of the room and make the person feel as if they're both inside and outside at the same time. So while designing the pergola, the two things I had in mind was to make it look as minimal as possible without obstructing the view on both the top and also by the sides. So for which we chose very sleek sections, and we made sure we had a transparent clear screen above that. So it connects the user with the earth and also the sky, and from inside and the outside the building at once.
Not just that, the house has been oriented to catch the sunrise. Right at the entrance of the house, you can see the sunrise right from the balcony. All the spaces of the house are day-lit spaces, naturally lit because of large windows and the location of the windows. The building is a Hawa Mahal. It catches the breeze, both the diurnal variation of the breeze, the land breeze and the sea breeze, as well as the seasonal variation of the breeze during summers and winters. The hot air from the house is allowed to escape out through the central skylight, which has its opening at the terrace level, and hence there is a constant convection current constantly flowing through the house and keeping the house extremely cool. The house is integrated with creepers and greenery all around, which definitely contributes to the mean radiant temperature of the walls and the roof being much lower than being exposed to the direct light. Because of all these various factors, Gratitude is a climate intelligent house and does not require much air conditioning except for perhaps in the hottest months of summer. The depth of the balconies, the pergolas and the verandas has also been determined keeping this very aspect in mind, that only the low sun can come in. But once the sun goes above 10 a.m., the sun does not hit the walls directly. The third aspect of Gratitude's 9-point recipe is materials and technologies. In materials, we have used EcoPact, which is ACC's product, also called green concrete. In this, we are utilizing the waste of the thermal power plant, which is fly ash. Even in the bricks, we are using fly ash. Because of fly ash bricks, the thermal resistance of the building has almost tripled. The bricks are not just stronger, they are also more perfect in sizes, which reduces the consumption of mortar and plaster. And at the same time, it reduces the heat from the outside to the inside. It increases the time lag that the heat requires to travel from the outside to the inside. The beauty of fly ash is that we have used it not in a standard 9-inch Flemish bond or an English bond, but we have used it in a rat trap bond, which creates an air cavity in the middle of the two leaves.
அடுத்தபடி நாங்கள் rat trap bond யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம். Flemish bondக்கும் rat trap bondக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்பர் ஆஃப் bricks குறையும். Flemish bondல ஒரு 450 bricksனா இதில் ஒரு 370 bricks மட்டும்தான் இதில் ஆகும்.
The thickness of the wall still remains 9-inch, which means you're not using more material, but at the same time, you're utilizing the insulating property of air to increase the thermal resistance of the wall. So the wall, which would otherwise have been R2 or R4, has actually gone up to R8 or R10 in certain places because of this aspect of using fly ash bricks and using it in a rat trap bond. In terms of steel, we are using recycled steel. That greatly reduces the carbon dioxide emission at the embodied energy level of this house. In terms of the wood, we are using recycled timber. The glass that we have used is a thermal performance glass, ST167 of Saint-Gobain, which also has heat strengthening properties. Since the wall-window ratios of this house do permit it, due to the deep balconies, we were able to use this glass and significantly reduce the heat coming in. The method for plaster is not manual plaster, but it is shotcreting, or also called ganiting, which uses pressurized machines to put cement plaster on the walls. This reduces the air bubbles formed in the plaster, and hence it makes the building much stronger and also makes it impervious to water. Similarly, in the roofs, we don't have cement plaster on the underside of the RCC slabs. We have used a technique which we call lean cement plaster, where we put the shuttering on the underside of the RCC slab a little lower than the actual, and we put a lean plaster over that. Over that, we lay the RCC slab, and when we remove the shuttering, with that, the lean cement plaster comes off. Had we used cement plaster, we would have had a ratio of 1:3 or 1:4. In lean cement plaster, we are using a cement sand ratio of 1:10. That again dramatically reduces the quantity of cement required in the building.
இப்போ ஜிஜி பேஸ் மெட்டீரியல் வச்சு தான் நாங்கள் பில்டிங் பண்ணணும்னு சொன்னாங்க, ஏன்னா கார்பன் எமிஷனுக்காக. இப்போ ஜிஜி பேஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லோக்கலில் எங்கேயுமே சப்ளை கிடையாது. அதனால் லோக்கலில் எங்களால் அது எங்கே பார்த்தாலும் சர்ச் பண்ணி பார்த்து கிடைக்காத பட்சத்தில் நம்ம சென்னையை பேஸ் பண்ணி போக வேண்டியதாக போச்சு. இப்போ சென்னையை பேஸ் பண்ணும்போது ஏசிசி கம்பெனி நம்ம நாடி தான் நம்ம இந்த மெட்டீரியல் வர வச்சு இங்கே வேலை செஞ்சுதான். அதுமாரி இப்போ காங்கிரீட் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த கார்பன் லெஸ்ஸுக்காக ஏசிசி கம்பெனிலேருந்து வர வைக்க வேண்டியதாக இருந்தது.
Because of all these aspects, we were able to drastically reduce the embodied carbon of this building. The fourth aspect of gratitude is water. Not a single drop of water is allowed to leave the building site. Both the rooftop rainwater as well as the surface runoff is being harvested and recycled. You will see an interesting way in which we are making the use of rainwater instructive, demonstrative and inspiring for all those who visit. We are using the rainwater for secondary domestic purposes like irrigation, and the excess is being recharged back into the ground. The fifth aspect of gratitude is energy. Gratitude has been designed in the most energy efficient manner with all the passive solar strategies that I have covered earlier. In addition to that, we have used energy efficient gadgets. All the fans, all the lights are all energy efficient. Till now, we haven't even had the need to install air conditioners. We are using solar water heaters instead of electric geysers, and we are also using a solar cooker. The lighting load of all the lights and fans is being met through solar panels that have been installed above the staircase headroom. The sixth aspect of gratitude is that of waste. We aspire to have a zero waste building, which means all the solid waste is segregated at source. More than 60 to 65% of any domestic waste from a house is always the kitchen waste. This is being recycled and turned into compost and is being used as manure for the garden. All the dry waste is being sent to the recycling plant. The wastewater from the showers and the kitchen sink is being treated through biological means, and the treated water is being used in the irrigation of the plants. The seventh aspect of gratitude is that of biodiversity. As you all know, birds, butterflies and bees are indicators of biodiversity of any space. And over here, we have spotted more than 35 different types of wonderful birds. Come any morning and you will hear at least 15 different types of birds. You may even find more than a dozen just next to your balcony. How have we achieved this? We have integrated nature in very unexpected ways here in gratitude. Look at the staircase parapet wall. The whole thing is being designed like a vertical garden. Look at the guardrail. The entire guardrail is actually a series of pots arranged rhythmically, where the eye keeps flowing like a sine wave. And all these pots have been chosen with the indigenous species in mind, which attracts birds and butterflies. The terrace parapet wall also is not a continuous parapet wall, but it has interesting breaks with these very guardrails.
So when you see the plan of the building, gratitude, so you have these staggered balconies all along the edge of the house, but it's not like repetitive. It's very kind of, it has a pattern and it has a rhythm to it. So which is the same kind of rhythm which I wanted to bring it out in the guardrail design. So they are basically grids, and with the grids bringing out the plants to the nature which is next to it. So it kind of has a conversation with the nature which is around.
The design of the door, the main door itself, has integrated pots in it. Needless to say, the entire ground floor has a garden on all the sides. We are surrounded by 360 degrees of greenery on all sides. The treetops form the horizon of gratitude as far as your eyes can see. The eighth aspect of gratitude is that of interiors. Whenever we design a sustainable building, we get asked this question. We want to be sustainable, but we don't want to compromise on luxury. Auroma doesn't compromise on luxury. You can see here at Gratitude, a very luxurious house, but at the same time, extremely sustainable. The whole concept of this house came about when we were doing the Bhumi Pujan. And that was one of the first times I witnessed such a beautiful ceremony of the Bhumi Pujan, where the masons were keeping bricks within a pit in the ground. And the bricks were being treated as a form of Shiva. They were chanting mantras in the background, and they had aspects of different forms of milk in the form of ghee, curd, etc. And I realized that this is a very powerful ceremony which is invoking the cosmic energies. It's invoking the gods to come and inhabit this space. From that, we got the idea. The client of this house, Mrs. Roma Doshi, came up with that she has a deep devotion towards the mother goddess, especially during the 9 days of Navaratri. So she was telling me that the first 3 days of Navaratri are dedicated to earth. The next 3 days are dedicated to sun. And the last 3 days are dedicated to the moon. So here at Gratitude, the ground floor represents the earth. It has this earth vibe all around it. The soil is there on all the sides, plants growing through it. The tile layout itself has an earthy tone to it. The first floor of Gratitude is representing the sun. You can see the entire interiors have that golden hue. And the second floor of Gratitude is representing the moon. You can see the entire second floor having the peace and the vibe and the whiteness of the moon. So this is how the interiors reflected the concept that the client wanted to inhabit: the earth, the sun, and the moon. The last aspect of Gratitude is that of smart systems. Today, no building is considered smart if it doesn't integrate smart security and smart automation. Both these aspects have been ably integrated in Gratitude through the form of CCTV cameras and automated door locks. This is how we have brought all these 9 ingredients together to form a delicious recipe. All these 9 aspects of innovative building design come together here at Gratitude to give you one of the most sustainable homes in India.
આપણે કુદરતને ગ્રેટફુલ રહીએ, એટલે જ અમે નામ પાડ્યું છે ગ્રેટિટ્યુડ. અને એક જ બેસ્ટ ક્વોલિટી છે કે જે આપણે કુદરતને પાછું આપશું તો એ પણ હરખાઈને આપણી સાથે બહુ ગાશે અને રમશે. સો ગ્રેટફુલ ટુ એવરીવન, નોટ ઓનલી ટુ ધ નેચર બટ ઓલ હ્યુમેનિટી. દરેકે દરેક માણસ માત્ર માટે પશુ હશે કે પછી વનસ્પતિ હશે, દરેકને માટે આપણે ગ્રેટફુલ રહીએ.